Hello everyone, I'm Kevin, otherwise known as Forum BX257, here to bring you another 1980s and 90s G.I. Joe toy review. And today I'll be taking a look at the Cobra Desert Fighter, the 1991 Desert Scorpion. Desert Scorpions unfortunately do not make any comic book appearances, at least not in the old Marvel comic run of G.I. Joe, but they make their first animated appearance in the geek animated G.I. Joe episode titled General Confusion. First, I'm going to take a look at the Desert Scorpion's accessories, starting with these things attached to his wrists. You get two of them, and there is a left and a right. According to the contents list on the card, they're called digger devices. And, well, I'll do a close-up in just a minute, but it's not actually described how these things work, or whether they're actually supposed to go on his wrists or not. I've seen some people actually put them on his ankles, and they fit there too. I'll take a look at his giant pet scorpion by itself in just a moment, but I'd like to focus on his main armament connected to his back, which is this 5-piece backpack and missile rack with missile and machine gun. Now, this thing is fairly intricate, and one very interesting thing about it is that you can pull it up and then angle it over his shoulder, or over his head, really. You can turn it just a little bit as well. It's a bit difficult to do because of this hose, which is attached to the side of his head via a peg. And there's a peg in the actual missile rack portion itself. I'll just pull this whole thing apart, and you can see that the missile elevator portion of it is basically just a hook. And then you have the machine pistol, which just pops out, and as you can see, it is just really a machine pistol, which the figure can hold very well. The actual missile rack itself, and the single missile that you get with it. Due to the simple construction, the thing being a hook and just a bar for the missile rack, you can actually put this the other way around. As a matter of fact, the instructions on the back of the card actually show it being assembled this way, with the peg for the hose being outward. And while that's fine if you're folding it up and putting it back down on the figure like this for storage, the fact of the matter is that with the peg all the way at the back here, it just means that this 3-inch hose, which really is not long enough for it to go on the back of the head, just kind of strains everything and threatens to pop everything apart. So I like actually putting it the other way around so that the peg is actually facing forward. And here he is with the digger devices attached to his ankles and holding the gun, which, as you can see, actually has a top-mounted magazine. Very interesting. And the final accessory to make the Desert Scorpion complete is his pet scorpion. Yeah, I'm not making that up. It actually says on the contents list of the card, Pet Scorpion. It really should say Pet Giant Scorpion, because as you can see with my hand here, this is about the size of your average actual scorpion. But as a 3 3/4 inch figure, this thing would really be one of the largest animal companions that you get with a bad guy figure. Just before I take a look at the figure by itself, I'd like to take a note of the file card and how it says that nobody volunteers to be a Desert Scorpion. Within the Cobra ranks, it's actually a punishment. Kind of like how the Toxo Vipers are. You get put into the Toxo Vipers until you earn your way back up to being a Viper or a Cobra officer or whatnot. But here's the thing that I'm a bit confused about. To me, the Desert Scorpion's outfit is really, really cool. Yeah, nobody wants to do desert duty if they don't have to, or if it's not really, their thing. But the fact of the matter is that this is a really cool outfit. That Toxo Viper's outfit was really awful. As a matter of fact, they were given the nickname Leaky Suit Brigade simply because of how bad their suits were. However, when you join Cobra, some of the appeal to joining a bad guy organization is the cool outfit that you get. And to be honest, this looks more like a perk to me. You get this cool visor, this little mouth plate. Of course, the red visor is probably a heads-up display with the antenna and the peg here just for the missile lock on your missile backpack. You get really cool colors, actually very dark brown with a very rich yellow for the desert theme. No tans and no light browns. Very strange, but it's still a very cool combination. And the fact of the matter is that you get some pretty cool, very complicated equipment to go along with you. You have a cool little machine pistol as well as a missile launcher. That's a punishment? That's very strange. And taking a look at the figure a little bit more in depth, he actually has a cloth havelock, much like the 1985 Dusty had, in order to ward off all the sunlight from the back of his head, probably when being in a sniping position or hidden, just so he can pop up and use his machine pistol or missile launcher there. Also fairly interesting is these ridges on both his boots and his gloves. While it's a little bit strange looking, it actually helps in putting those little digger devices clamped onto his wrists there. When they're not smooth, those things just kind of sort of move around. But here they actually have little portions, and almost like they're purpose made in order to help them clamp on. You'll notice that there's a little circle on the very top of his glove there. According to the card art, there would have been a Cobra symbol to go there, but of course at this scale they couldn't really sculpt that in. It just would have looked like a blob. However, he does have a tattoo on his bicep. Again, a really strange thing, because that really means that he's really dedicated to the Cobra way of life if he's tattooing their symbol on him. And yet, if he's in the Desert Scorpions, it's shown as a punishment, which is, again, a very strange concept for such a cool-looking figure who clearly wants to be a Cobra. The Desert Scorpion is supposed to be Cobra's first desert trooper, and he definitely is that as his primary military specialty. But if you look back into Cobra's history, you also have guys like Major Blood, who is, of course, an individual, not an army builder, but he does have extensive expertise in Middle Eastern countries. So, of course, he should be a perfect desert commander, if anything else. And then, as a lot of people have pointed out, the 1990 Rock Trooper has a lot of tan on him, meaning that he could double as a desert trooper, even if it doesn't explicitly say so on his file card. And if you've seen my video prior to this one, you know exactly who I'm going to choose as his rival. Dusty version 3. Not only does Dusty come with an animal companion to go up against the Scorpion, Dusty was also released in the exact same year, and even the same wave, no less. And here is how the Desert Scorpion's pet scorpion compares to the other bad guy animal companions. And I'm just going to call them animals, even though there's, like birds and fish and all that sort of thing in here. But you'll have to notice that all of these are mostly 1:18 scale as compared to the figures themselves. I mean, okay, granted, maybe the crocodile should have been a little bit bigger than this, but at least, there's a size range here which is relatively realistic, except for the giant scorpion. This is a fantasy creature here. This is basically a monster. But it's not like Cobra hasn't created monsters in either the comic books or the cartoons. And it's actually kind of strange how most of these are, real creatures and not some type of monster mutants designed to hunt and kill G.I. Joes. Even though they have said that, the Falcons or the Hawks or whatever these there were specifically bred to do that, they're still small little birds. Whereas this thing looks like it came out of Dr. Mindbender's lab. And it's just very strange that Hasbro didn't actually do that with any of the other animal companions. Now, there are two very interesting observations I have made when I was trying to buy one of these on the aftermarket. And that is, a lot of sellers actually replace his distinctive missile with one of two other missiles made for the G.I. Joe line. Now, this is unique to the figure. He will only ever come with this. There is no variation on this, at least not for the North American and most of the European market anyway. It's a dark yellow plastic which should match the yellow bodysuit. However, I have seen that because it's only one missile and he's kind of a rarish figure, you could actually replace that missile with one from the 1991 version 3, or is it 4, Hawk. Now he comes with 4 of these gold missiles, which are the exact same mold as the one which the Desert Scorpion comes with. Exact same hole, and of course they are interchangeable, but they are not right. The other one that I see is an orange missile, which actually does look quite a bit nice because it matches the orange of his grenades here. But this is from the 1987 Slam. And of course, this is not the same mold, but is very, very close. And of course, the hole is exactly the same size, so this is interchangeable as well. But like I said, it's not right. Another thing I wanted to point out was the digger claws. Sometimes I see sellers having 2 left sides or 2 right side digger claws and calling that complete. The fact of the matter is that I can't really say whether or not that's a factory error because, well, quite frankly, Hasbro is kind of known for goofing up like that in the packaging. However, I would say that most collectors want a left and a right side. So if you see one which has 2 of the digger claws here, make sure that it is a left and a right side. Of course, obviously, if you're buying one mint in the package and it has 2 lefts and 2 rights, obviously that's not going to matter because you have the documentation that that's a factory error at the very least. If you're looking for a Desert Scorpion on the aftermarket, while he isn't a rare figure, I do have to say that he's an extremely popular figure, especially as he is the premier figure for his environmental specialty, meaning that people really do like army building him, which really skyrockets his aftermarket value. On top of that, he comes with a ton of tiny little parts. Pretty much everything that you see here, save the backpack and the scorpion, is something that which often goes missing on this figure. On top of that, people sometimes take out his cloth havelock or snap off his top antenna here. Otherwise, he's actually a fairly sturdy figure. I mean, the only thing that I would have to worry about is really the Cobra tattoo being rubbed off, but even then, that's kind of an optional thing on most people's lists as far as being complete is concerned. Dusty version 3, another to 18 scale, or what the one Scorpion missiles, you have no missiles, of course, so you can just, Well, that's all the time I have right now. Please check out my Facebook page for more information and behind-the-scenes photos for these reviews. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for next time to see another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review. See you then!